So this is my second and more successful attempt at a playthrough of OpenRails. This time I'm going to use the introductory route, or the demo route, which is a portion of the shuttle service from Edinburgh to Glasgow on the former Glasgow and Edinburgh Railway. This route still exists today. It's only being electrified this year, so what you see in this will not be too different from how it is presently. So I'll be driving a Class 27, as you can see here, with Mark II coaches. Actually, two Class 27s, one on each end, because it was a push-pull operation. And it will still be badly underpowered, even with two locomotives, because the net rating there is only 933 horsepower. This is the route. I'm going to take the train from Edinburgh to Haymarket in this part. There's a stop there. Linlithgow will be the final stop in subsequent videos, the last video basically. Actually, the Class 27s were discontinued on this route largely because they were underpowered. They replaced them with Class 47s and then with DMUs. You can see some of the DMUs in a picture of Glasgow Queen Street here. .170s, 158s, and so on. And this gives another summary of the history. I ended up doing this as a monitor share and not as a window share because I wanted to monitor the real temperature app over there. Because this was basically at the limit of what my computer could tolerate, and I didn't want to take undue risks. Although maybe in the end I did, because I did run it up to the absolute limit for the processor. So I'm running Game Booster again, alongside of Advanced System Care to get rid of the extraneous services. For some reason those windows never shared, so you can't see that I switched them on, but I did. And you can also see in the lower right corner that I've installed a battery, which for some strange reason makes Toshiba satellite laptops run cooler. And that, I think, is what made this possible ultimately, because I didn't change very much else in the computer's configuration. So there's another description of the scenario, or the activity, as they call them in both Microsoft Train Simulator and OpenRails. So I'm going to start and watch the temperature over on the right shoot up. It's 71 now. I'm going to move the window over. And see, it's already at 85, 86. This is almost unsustainable, but as you'll see, it'll plateau, which is the indication that I can actually do this. But only just barely. Yeah, I mean, that's really close. Anyway, here I am in the Class 27. I call up the newly redesigned track monitor with F4. I get this stupid tip that gets in my way. I hit F10 to call up the next station menu. Again, redesigned. Switch on the headlight, get another stupid tip that I don't want. And you can't see it, but I've also put the reverser in forward. And I'm waiting for departure. And you can see the temperature has actually dropped a little bit over there on the right, so this is doing well. I just pointed to the AWS daisy as a reminder that, in fact, it doesn't work. They haven't implemented it yet in OpenRails, or at least it doesn't appear to be implemented. It's reading yellow here, which is what it should read, given that I've got an approach signal up ahead, or approach limited signal, rather. But as you'll see when it goes green, the daisy will not go to black. And I don't have any alerter or anything. Then I get the departure whistle, realistically, unlike in the Castle of the Fulda scenario, or track layout even. So I'm going to release the Westinghouse brakes here. I don't know if those gauges are authentic for Westinghouse. They look like vacuum brake gauges to me. But Here they're running Westinghouse brakes at 90 pounds per square inch brake pipe pressure, which is more or less accurate because I'm running Mark II stock. It would have been what they would have used in this service, the Edinburgh to Glasgow shuttle in the 70s. Although the Class 27s were built starting in 1961, so they were often dual braked with both vacuum and Westinghouse brakes on them. Here's my approach limited signal, or double yellow. It's warning me, of course, that 2 signals ahead is a danger, but that doesn't affect me, actually, because the danger is behind the platform for Haymarket. Not in the track monitor you see there, but the way it's ultimately going to be, because presumably I'm following a train here. So that's going to drop, and the danger is going to end up behind the platform. Meanwhile, these graphics are really nice for the era. This is basically a over 10-year-old track layout, originally from Microsoft Train Simulator. But the problem is, if I ran this in Microsoft Train Simulator, my processor would probably be running at around 70 Celsius. I've stated elsewhere that I'm pretty sure it's unloading the work onto the CPU instead of using the GPU. Even though OpenRails is designed to use existing graphics cards, my suspicion is that there are compatibility issues, and so it's defaulting to my CPU, which is overstressing my computer. I have trouble believing that I can run all the other difficult things I run, like Grid Autosport and all this, but have so much trouble with this. I think there is an error. So that's a note for the OpenRails developers. The external views are the same as in Microsoft Train Simulator. I think they look quite nice. Here's my front end, or head end, as they say in railroading. You don't want to say front end, people will think you're talking about web design. So, there's the approach signal, which was previously danger. And you can see the danger behind the platform there on the track monitor. So I will actually throttle up to 30 miles an hour because I know exactly what my signal aspects are. And this is, at least in American practice, legal to run 30 under an approach signal, although no more. And I also know from experience that if you're going 30, most passenger trains will stop if you begin braking at the end of the platform. Not the end, but the closer end. Of course, my driving experience is limited to simulators, so take this all with a grain of salt. As you'll see, the brakes on this consist are so good that I end up having to release the brakes and pull up a bit. I don't know if that's accurate, to be honest, but these trains were designed to stop from 100. Because the Mark II stock was designed for the West Coast main line, where they did run 100, 110 miles an hour. So there's Haymarket, and I'm going to brake, and as you'll see, it'll be too hard. And it'll actually make me maybe, I don't know, half a minute late, which will add up to a minute late by the time I get to Linlithgow. But I will just barely arrive at this station on time and just barely depart on time. Pretty much by 1 second on arrival and a few more seconds, 20 seconds I think, for departure. If you're going with a 1 minute threshold anyway. But this is a sloppy stop, so I'm going to end up being slightly late as a result. So, just not even a 10-pound reduction, a 7-pound reduction there. On a 90-pound brake pipe pressure. I think that might be optimistic. I have trouble believing that it would work that well. Anyway, next video I'll continue beyond Haymarket.